All right. I think we're good. I think we're good. So, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't stop recording out of nowhere. It only ever happened one time, and I have a little bit of a speculation as to why it did that in the first place. I think I just need to get my charging port cleaned, because that's where the transmitter is connecting to, and then the microphone is down over here. And I think just the transmitter, maybe because it disconnected, it stopped the video or something like that. But it hasn't happened since then, so I think we're good to go. But in this video, what I kind of wanted to talk about, I should have looked at my notes before starting this video, because I had something written down that that I kind of wanted to talk about. But you know what? I'll just talk about something that happened today, and then I'll try to remember what it was that I wrote down and connect it to that in some way or whatever. I don't think I can, but I thought it would still be interesting to share, right? Because I don't know. But one of my habits, or one of my hobbies, as of late, for a while, it's always been like just being active in terms of just getting my body to just move, just specifically my legs. I want my legs to be able to move around, like walking around the neighborhood, or even walking around the hiking trail that's behind me, which I haven't been to in a little bit, just because the weather's just been kind of like all over the place in terms of just rain. It's been a very rainy week over here. I think it even drizzled some today, but it's just been very cloudy and rainy. So this entire past week, I haven't gone back out here, and I haven't returned here since the whole bear incident. I don't have bear spray yet. I could literally make the order whenever, but I haven't made the order yet. But I think once it starts to clear out, or once the cloudy skies, just move on out, I'll get the bear spray and I'll come back over here. And maybe I'll do a video recording of me just walking and talking or whatever. I don't know. My only concern is, like, I feel like I'd run into people and I don't know how that would go. I'd probably find a space where I could just station myself and then record it. But whatever. The reason I bring up me going on these walks is because my boy, my closest friend, he basically was like, oh, today's a nice day out. I kind of want to also do a walk, right? That's what he decided for himself. And as he's going on this walk, he eventually comes across a very unfortunate situation where there's these two dogs, and I guess their owner was nowhere to be seen, and the two dogs weren't contained, like they weren't behind a fence or anything like that, and they approached my friend, and we were like in a call talking, and I hear the dogs just start barking. And I could tell that they were little dogs. I mean, you could just tell by a way a dog is barking and like the volume of the bark. You could just tell, or I could just tell in the moment, like, yeah, they sounded like some real small dogs, but nonetheless, creatures, or animals, especially like domesticated animals, if that's the proper word, like pets, right? If they aren't vaccinated and they're around other people, they can spread infections, they can spread diseases, they can spread whatnot, right? So they bit his ankle. They didn't actually bite, but they did scrape. They basically still made contact with his skin and tore and peeled some of his skin. So what he tried to do was he just simply was like, today is a pretty decent day. It's not that rainy, or it wasn't raining at the time, but it was still kind of cloudy, and he went out for a walk, and then that ended up happening, and then it became this whole journey throughout the day where he had to go to the hospital and get shots and whatnot, because he wasn't going to risk it. The doctor literally told him, like, there's a 0 to 10% chance that you might get rabies, but if you do get infected, there's a 100% chance, there without a doubt, because there's no cure for rabies, you're going to die. So the doctor was like, is it really a risk you're worth taking? I say just take the shot. And anyone naturally knowing that potentially they could catch an infection or whatever, such as rabies, and then they could die as a result of not taking care of it, of course you're going to want to take the shots. And he ended up having to take 7 shots, and one got injected somewhere that wasn't pleasant. So there's that. So I mentioned the situation to my mom, and she was like, oh, he doesn't have bad luck. And no, I don't believe he has bad luck. It was just an unfortunate situation where, unfortunately, he ran across these two dogs that weren't being kept an eye on by the owner. And that's just the grim reality that we live in. You know, some people shouldn't have pets, yet they do. And those pets can be a little chaotic sometimes. And in this case, they were a little too chaotic. They basically nibbed at his ankle, and then he had to go get the situation taken care of. But nonetheless, I just brought that up just to bring it up as a little story. You know, this is, again, I'm treating these videos like a almost like a video journal, and I kind of am looking at each video as like my progression in terms of me being able to use my voice and use it without, like, I remember at the start of these videos, I don't do it as often anymore, but I used to say the word a lot in between whatever I was saying. And now I can tell that I'm sort of now feeling more comfortable with my voice in these videos. So I want to come out here and record videos nonetheless, even if, like, for instance, right now it is 11:07 p.m. It's pretty darn late. And I could have probably done this a little earlier, but usually these videos that I've been recording, all of them, except for one, there was one video that I think I got recorded like maybe a little earlier in the day, but every other video has been pretty much recorded around this time. So I want to then eventually like get these videos recorded sooner in the day, earlier in the day. But the way that my routine is kind of working right now, it's like, I don't know. It's like, where do I even find, not that I can't, it's like, I almost just try to give an excuse for myself or something like that. I could definitely find the time. I'm just going to pace myself and be comfortable with where I am at right now in my journey, and just know that eventually through time and through effort and through just me willingly coming out here and making the decision to record a video, get better with my voice, I'll record them at a different way than I am now, you know? Gotta have patience with yourself, which is something I talked about, or that I'll continue to talk about in these videos, you know? But here's the thing, right? I'm trying to now remember what I was taking a note of earlier in my notes app, right? Let me just make sure that this is still recording. I don't want to come out here and then feel like I did it for no reason. Yeah, we're 7 minutes in. So one of the things that I noted in my video earlier, in my notes earlier today, was talking about how there was a period of my life, right? And occasionally here and there, it can still come up when I feel like, ooh, I'm in a spot where I don't really feel like I know, like, I feel like someone else knows, or different people know something that I feel like I'm missing out on, or something like that, you know? And it's completely okay to feel that way. It's kind of, I want to tap into this specifically because it is still a problem that arises for me. And it's not to say that it's really a problem, but it can become a problem if it's something that you become stuck on and you feel like you're genuinely missing out, or you feel like you're left behind. That specifically right there, the piece of feeling left behind, particularly when you feel left behind at a point where you feel like everybody's moved on and you're kind of still stuck behind, and you're taking a while to get where those other people are, or whatever it may be, right? I specifically felt that way when I was attending school, you know, when I was at college, when I was at community college, and none of those ever panned out for me in a way that I eventually ended up graduating. That simply just didn't happen, you know. And I was talking to my mom earlier, and she asked me, like, yo, like, you know, if you had the funds to go to school, and what would you pursue? And honestly, like, I've already thought, like, I did 2 years at a university. I did 2 years at a community college, and I looked at the list of just about every major that they had available that I could pursue and whatnot, that I could have a degree in or whatever. Even the terminology for me it just isn't familiar, because it just never was something that I got comfortable with. And it's not to say that I didn't get comfortable with it because I didn't try. I did 4 fucking years. I did 2 years at a university, 2 years at a community college. Now, granted, there was the 2 years that I did at a university, it was really only one semester that I got to do in person because the pandemic occurred, you know, and everything else during that time, like, everything went online. Like, for that university, everything went online. And when it went to online, it was just like, what am I even really doing here? What am I bothering this for? Because I went in as an undeclared student, and I'm over here doing stuff online, and I've got a PlayStation 4 right in front of me running 2K20. Like, it just felt like a big joke. It was almost like, yeah, like seriously, what am I doing pursuing this stuff online? Nothing's in person right now. So I left that behind. And then once things started to open up in person again, I took some courses in person at a community college, and even then, I also still felt the same way, whether it was in person or online, and in person again. It just simply never really called my attention. And during that time, I kind of didn't really feel good about myself, because it was just honestly, it was scary and confusing, and just overall, I felt lost, because I felt like I was in a world of people, surrounded by I felt like I was in a world of people, right? And now when I use the word world of people, right, what I'm basically saying is I was surrounded by other people in school, friends that were also going to other schools and whatnot, and it just genuinely felt like I was surrounded by a bunch of people in a world where everybody just kind of were doing things, and I felt like I was left behind, and I felt like I just didn't know what was going to happen next or whatever. And now that time has sort of passed by, I've grown to be pretty comfortable with just knowing that there is still something out there for me. And it's not in the same way that it's shown up for many others in my world, Whereas in before, I would think that, okay, I'm really lacking behind. Like, so many people have progressed, so many people that I know have graduated and gone into their careers, and it's not to take away anything from them, because I'm not going to do that, but simply for me, I just couldn't ever see myself following that same path, It just felt like they were all on that path of just following the structure, following the system. And for me personally, I just didn't feel like there was a system or a structure that I could just abide by and just follow. It just was never that way. It simply wasn't. If there was ever going to be a system or structure that I end up following, it would be the system and structure that I feel like I built on my own self. Like, it was a path that I carved out for me, specifically for me. And if that doesn't take me anywhere, then I genuinely feel like, okay, I existed on this earthly plane simply just to kind of exist. And that's totally fine too. That's completely fine, but I still believe, a part of me really believes, or not a part of me, like wholeheartedly, I want to believe that I can create something of my own, So listen up. If there's any one of you that watch this video and get to this point and feel like you felt the same before, don't be afraid. Continue doing the things that you're doing already, right? So, like, for instance, when I was in school, there were still some things that I would do on the side. Like, when I was attending a university, when I was attending the community college, I was still attending those courses. I was still attending those classes. But on the side, I was still doing something that sort of kept me grounded to who I knew I was going to be in some sort of way, right? And it may sound silly and it may sound funny, but I literally had a Twitch account where I would stream myself playing video games, And listen, did I ever seriously think that I was going to blow up and be like a Kai Cenat or like something like that? No, not really. I didn't ever think that I was going to blow up and be a IShowSpeed or something like that. But it was still something that grounded me. I was still in front of a camera using my voice, and there were still quite a few people that would just come in and just support. And some of those people were genuinely people that I've never met. I didn't know them. They just found me. And it was basically like a community of people, a very small community of people that really just came and supported during a time that I was like, I don't really know what's out there for me. I don't know what's out there for me. Like, by out there, I meant like in the system and the structure that exists, like a university, a college, a community college, whatever. I felt so lost in that system, in that structure, that I was like, okay, but I can't, if I know that I feel lost in a system or structure that doesn't feel like it belongs to me, or doesn't feel like I belong in it, right? Then let me at least still ground myself in something. And that something that I was grounding myself in was literally just me live streaming, me playing a video game like Call of Duty, Escape from Tarkov, or whatever. I was just doing that. And did it look silly from an outside perspective? Like, my parents would see it and they would kind of be like, what is he really doing? Like, this is a waste of time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure, it may look like that, but deep inside, I know myself, like, it was just me. It wasn't me escaping. It was simply me just trying to find a way that I could feel like, or find something that I could do that feels right to me. And that's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm literally doing now with these videos. I call them video journals, but they're literally more than just video journals. They're almost like a public video journal, because they're being posted up, and if they ever reach anybody, then something was accomplished, and I'll feel forever grateful for that. But at the same time, it's really just another way for me to just try something that feels right to me, you know? So that's just pretty much it. I think that there was definitely more that I wanted to talk about in this video, but I also don't mind that this is the direction of where this video went. I still, once again, like, I've taken multiple notes of different titles, different ideas, different things that I want to talk about. And I should definitely take a closer look at the things that I've written there, and then whatever feels like it resonates, during that time that I'm taking a look at it, I'll just go out and talk about it. Or maybe if a new idea comes up, I'll come out and talk about it. But I think that's basically it for this video. Hopefully it's still recording. I'm going to find out right now. Yeah, we're about 16 minutes in. Not bad. So, that's basically it, I'm not going to drag it on any longer. Now, go enjoy your life, and I really do mean that. That's it.